You're not a failure, you're exhausted. There's a difference and it matters more than you think. We live in a world that measures everything in outcomes. How much you get done, how fast you bounce back, how consistently you show up, smile on, checklist in hand. And when you can't keep up, when you slow down or break down or need more time than you used to, they call it failure. But they're wrong. What you're feeling right now, this weight in your chest, this fog in your head, this sense that everything is just a little bit too much all the time, it's not a flaw. It's a signal. You're burnt out, you're overstretched, you're surviving on scraps of energy and hoping that if you just push through one more day, it'll get easier. And because you're so tired, so constantly worn down, you start to question yourself. You wonder why things that used to feel easy now feel overwhelming. Why you can't just snap out of it. Why your body feels like it's shutting down even when you've done nothing. Let me tell you something. That's not failure, that's fatigue. There's a quiet kind of survival that doesn't get noticed. The kind where you still show up to work even when your soul is aching. Where you smile at others while hiding your own unraveling. Where you carry burdens in silence because everyone else assumes you're fine. And when you start slipping, missing texts, zoning out, crying over small things, you don't get grace. You get guilt. You get shame. You get whispers in your head that say, "You're not enough. You should be stronger. What's wrong with you?" But the truth is, you've been strong for too long without rest. Strength isn't about pushing through all that costs. It's knowing when to stop before you break. And you've been carrying the weight of a collapsing sky. If no one else has told you this lately, you're doing the best you can with what you have. You're not failing, you're functioning in survival mode. And that's a sign of resilience, not weakness. So take a breath, let go of the idea that burnout is a flaw, and let this be your reminder. You're allowed to be tired, you're allowed to rest, you're allowed to be human. Let's talk about something you probably hear all the time. You can't pour from an empty cup. But how often do you actually believe it applies to you? Because if you're anything like me, you've probably been pouring from an empty cup for so long, you've forgotten what it feels like to be full. You've been giving your energy, your time, your heart, sometimes even your peace until there's nothing left for you. You show up when you're running on fumes. You say, "I'm okay," when you're anything but. You put yourself last because there's always someone who needs you first. And it doesn't feel heroic. It feels normal. That's what makes it dangerous, because little by little, that emptiness becomes your baseline. You forget that exhaustion isn't supposed to be your natural state. You start to believe that self-care is selfish, that rest is indulgent, that unless you're producing or serving or working, you're not worthy. But I want to challenge that. I want you to ask yourself, honestly, when was the last time you did something just to refill your cup? Not out of obligation, not to check off as a self-care box, but simply because you deserve to feel okay? Maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's been so long you forgot what even fills you up anymore. And that's okay too. Because here's the truth. You're allowed to relearn yourself. You're allowed to rediscover what makes your soul breathe. You're allowed to rest without earning it first. You're not just a machine that exists to get things done. You're a living, breathing human with limits, with needs, with a heart that deserves softness too. And maybe you've gone without it for so long, you've started to think that's normal, but it's not. What's normal is feeling joy, feeling safe, feeling supported. And if you haven't had that in a while, that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're overdue for care. So let today be a soft reminder. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to refill. You're allowed to choose yourself, especially when the world tells you not to. Because no one else can refill your cup but you. And you can't keep pouring forever without something to give. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that our worth has to be proven, that love has to be earned, that we're only as valuable as what we accomplish. And because of that, you might be stuck in a loop right now, working harder, showing up stronger, trying to be better, even when you're falling apart inside. You've learned to tie your self-worth to productivity, to how clean your space is, to whether or not you checked every item off your to-do list, to whether you replied to that message fast enough. But here's what no one told you. You don't have to perform to be worthy of love. You don't have to be useful to deserve kindness. You don't have to be doing great to be enough. You already are. You were enough when you woke up this morning with a heavy heart. You were enough when you laid on the floor and couldn't get up right away. You were enough on the days you didn't meet your own expectations. Your value has never been tied to your productivity. And I know sometimes that truth is hard to accept because the world rewards output. And when you're tired, when your capacity shrinks, and you can't give what you used to, it starts to feel like you're falling behind. But you're not behind. You're just human. And you're tired. And that's okay. Healing, resting, slowing down, none of those things make you less than. They make you wise. They make you honest. They make you brave enough to break the cycle of performative strength. You don't have to fix yourself to be lovable. You don't have to wait until you feel better to take up space. Right here, right now, in your messy, tired, imperfect state, you are still loved to be proud of yourself. Because choosing to keep going, even when your body aches, even when your mind is loud, even when everything feels too big, that's not failure. That's fierce, quiet courage. So let go of the idea that you have to earn rest, earn love, earn your place in this world. You don't. You never did. It's easy to overlook the progress you've made when you're in survival mode, when every day feels like a repeat of the last, and even basic tasks feel like mountains. You start to believe that you're stuck, that you're not growing, that you're somehow falling behind. But you're not behind. You're healing. And healing doesn't always look like transformation. It often looks like persistence. You might not see it right away, but the fact that you're here, listening, breathing, staying, that means something. You made it through days you thought would break you. You've kept going when all you wanted to do was stop. You've learned how to show up for others, even when you were running on empty. And maybe the dishes still aren't done. Maybe you forgot to respond to that message. Maybe your to-do list has pages left untouched. But that doesn't cancel out the quiet victories you've achieved. Getting out of bed when it felt impossible, making yourself food even if it was just a snack, choosing to rest even when the guilt whispered you shouldn't. That is progress. That is effort. That is survival. We don't celebrate those moments enough, but they matter. And just because your growth doesn't look like someone else's doesn't mean it's not happening. Sometimes progress is invisible. Sometimes healing is silent. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply not give up. You don't need to change your entire life in one day. You don't need a breakthrough to be worthy of breathing room. You just need to keep going in the smallest ways possible. And even if today wasn't your best day, even if you felt slow, quiet, off, disconnected, you still showed up. You're still here. That's something. So the next time your mind tries to convince you that you're not doing enough, pause and remember, you are doing better than you think, you are caring more than people know, you are stronger than the voice in your head wants you to believe, and you are further along than you give yourself credit for. One step at a time, one breath at a time, that's all you need to take. And you're doing it, even now. You've made it this far through the video, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for letting me sit with you in this moment. Thank you for letting these words be part of your day. I know it's not always easy to listen to messages like this. Sometimes when you're hurting or overwhelmed or completely drained, even comfort can feel like too much. But you stayed, and that matters. If there's one thing I hope you take from all this, it's this. You are not alone. Even on your worst days, the ones where you don't leave your bed, the ones where your brain screams and your heart aches, the ones where you question everything about yourself, even then, especially then, you are not alone. Someone out there knows this pain. Someone else has been where you are. And someone like me is rooting for you, quietly from the other side of a screen. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be thriving to be worthy of love. You don't have to earn compassion by burning yourself out. You just have to be here, breathing, trying even if it's messy, even if it's slow. This space, this little corner we built together, it exists so you can have somewhere to land when the world gets too loud. A place to feel held, even if it's only for a few minutes. And if this video helped you feel that even a little, if it reminded you that you're not broken, just exhausted, I hope you'll carry that with you tomorrow. And before we go, I want to share something important with you. I'm building this content between two jobs. Late nights, Early mornings, long shifts, and still, I keep showing up here because this is my dream. To make cozy, healing human content for people like you. To grow something soft and strong and full of meaning. That's why I started a Patreon. A place with exclusive content, behind the scenes peeks, early access to videos, but more than that. It's a place where your support helps keep this dream alive. Every subscription helps me move one step closer to creating full-time, to choosing this path with both feet without burning out to keep it going. If anything, this video made you feel seen, if you believe in this message, if you want to help me continue whispering hope into this little corner of the internet, please consider joining my Patreon. Even a small pledge makes a big difference. You're not alone, I'm walking this path too. And together, we're building something beautiful. Until next time, please be gentle with yourself. You're allowed to rest, you're allowed to hope, you're allowed to begin again, and I'll be right here, cheering for you every step of the way.